Good morning, everyone. Yes, today is August the 29th. My name is Melvin Coleman. I'm the president and CEO of the ABC, and this is yet another MCAT Branditize webinar in our series of webinars. Glad that you all are here. For those of you who don't know, we have 12 committees and 5 affinity groups. If anybody wants to take a stab at naming some of the committees, some of the affinity groups, I'll check it out in the chat. But this is the Marketing, Communications, Advertising, and Technology Committee, MCAT, okay? And all of our committees have a chairperson. Shout out to the leadership of the Atlanta Black Chambers. And today, the chair of MCAT is here to host and support her committee's event. So I'm going to turn it over to Miss Tamay Shannon. Tamay, turning it over to you. Excited about what's about to happen. This is going to be a great session. So thank you for putting it together.
All right. So thank you, Melvin. Y'all, I'm excited. So when I was talking and working with Ceci about what we should do for the webinar this month, what I was thinking about is everybody's going back to school. And for a lot of people, that's a reset in our business because you might have had the summer off. It might have been a little slow. Things might have been, because people are on vacation. So how do we get you back to business? How do we, whether it's fundamentals, whether it's research or advertising, whatever it is, how do we make sure you kick off this Q4, the latter half of this year, powerfully so you reach your goals? And so I'm super excited to be having Ceci talk about this because not only is she doing this webinar, you got something cooking for next year that's going to blow your minds. So I cannot just, Ceci, you're amazing. She is a consummate marketer. And so you will learn everything you need to from her. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. They will get answered. There'll be time for Q&A. But Ceci, I'm going to hand it off to you to go ahead and get started.
Thank you so much, Tamay, for the warm welcome. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Melvin and Atlanta Black Chambers for having me today. So yeah, we're going to be talking about marketing that drives revenue. Let me just get my screen share up here.
And thank you to everyone who has done a greeting in the chat or introduced yourself. Do appreciate it.
Melvin, can you guys see my screen?
Sure can.
And it's in presentation mode. Everything looks good.
Perfect. Okay, so my only rule for today is I am going to be doing a lot of talking, but I do not want to talk the whole time. So please be interactive. We're going to have several Q&A sessions. So any questions that you have as I go along today, please feel free to ask and let it be more of a conversation because I don't want to talk to you guys or at you guys for an hour and a half. That's pretty boring. I also have our marketing manager, Rachel, here with us today. She's going to be dropping some helpful links in the chat as I'm going through the deck. So a little bit about what we're going to do today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Robinson Productions and who I am and why you should maybe or maybe not listen to me. We're also going to be talking about marketing budgets because that is really the foundations when you start actually planning your marketing. So we're going to talk a lot about marketing budgets. Then we're going to go into customer relationship management, which is also known as CRM. You may have heard that term before. And then we're going to get right into planning your quarter. So I'm going to give you guys some really good strategies on how you can plan your quarter. And then we're going to have an open floor. So you guys are going to be able to ask me any questions that come up throughout the presentation today. So a little bit about Robinson Productions. We are a full service marketing company. People ask me what is that all the time. It just means anything from A to Z in marketing we're able to do, whether that's web development, marketing strategy, ad strategy, SEO, social media management. If it's under marketing, we can help you with it and we can do it. And how we actually are able to do that is through 3 different types of models. So we have a retainer package, which is if you're looking for more of a month-to-month basis, which is more full service done for you. And then we have an a la carte option. Let's say you're not really ready to make that month-to-month commitment. You can do kind of like a one-time service. And if you're interested in any of these, you can book a consultation with us now or anytime to kind of get more information. And then we also do workshops and events. So something very similar to what we're doing today. We do workshops on all different types of marketing topics. So a little bit about me. I have been in marketing for a little over 7 years. I am a proud graduate of Georgia Southern University, where I studied marketing and PR. And then I went into the corporate space where I worked with companies really all over the world, Australia, New Zealand, Europe, and many different states within our own nation. So I have a pretty extensive background in marketing. I've worked in many different industries and sectors. So that's a little bit about me. I started Robinson Productions about 2 years ago and truly enjoying the work that I'm able to do with community businesses and small businesses and even medium-sized businesses and large businesses that really make an impact on their audience and the community. All right, so that was all the fluff. That was just so you can get to know who I am, the basics, and a little bit about Robinson Productions. So we're gonna get straight into it, and we're gonna just start off uncomfortable, right? We're gonna start off talking about the things that no one likes to talk about, but we can't move further until we talk about it. So before we get to the fun stuff, we're gonna do the boring stuff, but it's the important stuff. So let's talk about money. When you are thinking about how much money you should actually be spending on your marketing initiatives, I want you to first think about how old is your company, right? It's going to be very different if you are not started versus if you're in your first 5 years versus if you're a little older than that. I did get this information from WordStream. I really like this article, and I suggest everyone take a chance to read it. I'm actually going to send this deck out to you guys at the end of this session, so you'll be able to get all the hyperlinks and all the information in the deck. I like this article because it specifically focuses on small businesses. And as smaller businesses, we're not able to actually operate like a Target or a KPMG or a Walmart. So I like how this article really hones in on our actual types of businesses. So if you're under 5 years, if that's you, drop me in the comments. That's me. You're going to be spending about 12 to 20% of your gross revenue on marketing initiatives. Now, every business is different. So take this as, take this and apply it to your business specifically. But generally, if you're under 5 years, you should be spending about 12 to 20% of your gross revenue on marketing. And this is because you're really trying to get the word out. You're really in your first initial stages of business. So you're going to be spending a lot more money on actually getting people to know who you are and what your company is. Now, if you're older than 5 years, say that's me. We got any businesses older than 5 years? You guys are going to be spending about 6 to 12% of your gross revenue on marketing. Now, I did a little bit of basic math here using really simple numbers so that we're kind of able to understand what this looks like. So if you're making $1,000 in revenue, and I did break this down by the month, but you can break this down by the month, the quarter, or the year, whichever is more feasible for you. I broke it down by the month. If you're making $1,000 in revenue a month, you should only be spending about $120 to $200 on marketing. Now you're probably asking, Ceci, how do I even do that? I'm going to give you some examples. We're going to go to some strategy here in a minute, but just keep that in mind. If you're making about $10,000 in monthly revenue, you should be spending about $1,200 to $2,000 on your marketing, right? And then if you make $100,000 in monthly revenue, you should be spending about $12,000 to $20,000. Now, again, these numbers are they're a template, right? They're a basis. So you have to navigate them with what works best for you. You may be on the lower end or you may be on the higher end. And I did do this for my companies who are less than 5 years. So this is that 12 to 20%. But if you are over than 5 years, you can really just take the same kind of math model and apply it to your business. Now, like I said, I'm going to have a lot of Q&A stops because I want to make sure this is a conversation. I don't want to talk to y'all or at you guys for an hour and a half. So just want to stop and see, are there any questions about how you should navigate planning your marketing budget?
I have a question. This is Harold.
Hi, Harold.
Hey, how do you determine ROI? Like, how do you spend that $1,000, but I mean, in a perfect world for marketing, you spend $1,000, you want, 1,500 back or maybe 1,700 back. What's the best way of determining after I spend the 1,000 that I've made money off of this marketing and it didn't go into this black hole where I never see it again?
Yeah, so there are specific strategies that you can use to do that. We're also going to kind of get into a marketing planning template that I have for you, where we kind of break down goals and KPIs and how you're actually able to track whether those things are working. But it really depends on what the actual marketing campaign is, right? So if you're doing an ad campaign, you can actually look at how much money did I spend on this ad and how many leads did I get from this ad, or how many website visits did I get from this ad? And it's really dependent on what your actual goal is. So sometimes your goal isn't even a revenue goal, but it's, I want to get a certain amount of sales calls in a week, or I want to have a certain amount of, someone's playing on the screen. I want to have a certain amount of website visits a week or a month. So that's another way that you can track your ROI. And we'll really look at like how you can actually pick a goal.
John Daddy. So good.
And make sure that as you are putting marketing efforts and budget towards this goal, that it's actually being, you're actually getting the outcome that you're looking for. Did that answer your question?
It did. Thank you.
Hi, I have a question. With all the AI tools and all the marketing tools and marketing plan templates, what can your agency do for me that I can't do for myself?
Yes. So what I would say is probably book a strategy call with us or a consultation call with us, because each business is different, right? And really what we're able to come in and do is be that marketing strategy piece. So we help businesses create their marketing strategy, and then we help them with the execution. If you're doing all of your marketing, 9 times out of 10, there's other elements of your business that you're not able to focus on. So we really help you we really help coming in and creating that strategy, and then also helping you with the execution of that strategy so that you have actual marketing expertise to create what that marketing plan is. And then you also have the support to actually complete those items as well.
Okay, sounds good. So with that also, just real quick, so do you measure how effective your marketing is? Like when you create a campaign, do you measure it? Is there like key components that you're measuring to ensure that it's effective?
Yes, and we're actually going to talk about how you can do that yourself as well. But
Okay.
we do give all of our clients an engagement report is what we call it, which is a very, very detailed report of all of the things that we were able to do, all the improvements we were able to make, and even what we recommend for them next step, moving forward in next steps.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Now that we talked about budget, we're going to talk about another foundational piece. So we have budget. That's a big foundational piece when you talk about how you're going to plan your marketing, and customer relationship management. Like I said, this is not the fun part. This is not the exciting part, but these are the basics that you need in order to propel your business. Customer relationship management is also known as CRM. You may have heard of like CRM tools. And really, all customer relationship management is the practices and processes that you use to manage your customer relationships on a one-to-one or a one-to-many basis. I'm going to say that one more time because it was quite a mouthful. Customer relationship management is the practices and processes that you use to manage your customer relationships on a one-to-one or one-to-many basis. And I'm going to kind of explain how CRMs actually work in that way. This is just the basic definition of CRM. If you actually, once you take the deck, if you want to take a time and read it, or if you want more information on what a CRM is. So I'm going to kind of explain how a CRM can help you, not just progress and scale your business, but also create organization in your business. So I picked 4. There's a lot of ways that a CRM can help you, but I picked 4 main reasons. The first is streamlining communications. So let's say every time you get a new client, you send them a new welcome email, and you take, let's say 10 minutes to create that email. And let's say you get 5 clients in 1 week. You're now spending 50 minutes just sending welcome emails. And as a business owner, and really even as someone who's coming into your business and helping you with your business, that's not how you want to be spending your time. You want to make your time as useful and efficient as possible. So maybe you put them in an automation, or you send them an email that is already created. You just press it to send, and it sends out automatically to each of your clients. So that way you're not going through actually creating that email every time. Another way that you're able to streamline communications is you're actually able to, if you have a really good CRM tool, manage all of your social media channels. So instead of going to LinkedIn and posting one thing, and then hopping over to YouTube and posting another thing, and then hopping over to Instagram and posting something else, you're able to really manage all of these platforms in one setting. And you're probably asking, like, how is that helpful? But it's helpful because think of the amount of time that you're spending bouncing from platform to platform to platform. Also, these platforms do not talk to each other. So when you're streamlining that communication, you're also streamlining your data, so that you're able to then go back and look. When we get into reporting, we'll kind of talk about why that's important. The second way that it can help you is, like I kind of already mentioned, centralizing your customer data. One of the questions that I ask, is my number one question that I ask when I'm implementing a CRM tool, is where's your customer data? And some of the answers I get are, oh, some of them are in my phone, some of them are in my PayPal account, some of them are in my email. You want to have all of your customer data in one space so that you can manage it and optimize it. If all of your customer data is in different platforms, you're not able to really manage, one, who are your customers, and how many do you have? How many leads do you actually have? But you're also not able to keep up with information like, when is their birthday? What organization do they work at? What's their job title? What's their email? What's their phone number? As basic ones, what's their address? These are all things that you can keep in a CRM to keep all of the data in one place. I like to say it's like a 360-degree view. The next one is automations and integrations. I'm going to talk about automations first, and then I'll talk about integrations. So automations, I actually gave my automations example when I was talking about streamlining communications, but that is setting up email, SMS, any type of customer journey or digital series that you don't have to touch. You set it and you forget about it. And this is really important because if you find yourself doing the same processes over and over again, it's not scalable for you to continue to do that. You have to have some type of way to automate that so that you can then work on other things. And then integration, this is really if you have a larger tech stack, you're able to actually integrate the different platforms that you use into one, so that everything is kind of talking to each other and you have one source of truth. As you scale your business, one of the biggest hurdles can be your systems not talking to each other. So now you have one set of information in one system, and then you have another set of information in another system. CRMs really help integrate everything into one space so that you're able to then kind of see a holistic view of your entire business. I do have some CRM recommendations. We are going to get into that shortly. And for reporting, so one of the things that I like to mention when we talk about strategically planning for your next quarter, you cannot strategically plan if you have not thought about what you've done already. Otherwise, you're just making anew every quarter. And you're probably like, why am I working so hard? Why do I feel like things aren't building off of each other? It's because you're not using your reporting to build. When you think about oh, what emails do I want to send out in the next quarter? Well, let me see what emails performed well. Let me see what emails didn't perform well and why. Don't just look at your highs, look at your lows, because those are important as well. Why were they a low and why did that happen? When you're planning social media content, look at your previous quarter's social media content. What performed well? What didn't perform well? What did you do in the posts that performed well versus the posts that did not? A lot of us kind of skip generating those reports and actually taking time to look at those reports. But I can take sometimes 2 hours to really dissect a certain report and see how can I improve from what I already know, so that I'm not kind of coming in with brand new, fresh ideas. Brand new, fresh ideas are great, but those are not always innovative. Sometimes the innovation comes from the iteration. And now we're going to kind of get into some different examples, but I know I just kind of mentioned a lot. This is not usually a Q&A slide, but I do want to just ask if there's any questions. Okay. Before I kind of talk about different CRM tools, let me say this. If you ask 10 different people, what CRM tool should I use? You're going to get 10 different answers because there's hundreds, thousands of CRM tools. If you ask me, what CRM tool should I use? If 10 people ask me, hey, what CRM tool should I use, Ceci? I'm probably going to give them 8 to 10 different answers because it's really based off of your business. Certain CRMs are industry specific. It is based off of what you do in your business. Are you more of a sales driven business or are you more of a marketing driven business? Are you a product business or are you a service based business? So all of these are things that you need to take into account. And also, before I kind of get into my suggestions, what I would say is write down a list of things that you absolutely need in your CRM. What do you want your CRM to be able to do for you? And then most of the CRM platforms, they either already have a demo that you can look at on YouTube or you can schedule a live demo. And while you're in that live demo, ask the questions that are directly related to the things that you need from your CRM. And the reason why I say that is because CRM tools, they are in sales and marketing and they will sell you. They will sell you on a tool that's super amazing and super great that you can't even use or that is not fit for your business. So you really want to make sure you do your own research of what do you actually want this tool to be able to do before you actually go into that live demo and scouting for different CRMs. So I kind of split the screen and we have Klaviyo and ActiveCampaign on one side. Those are more of your marketing heavy CRM tools. And then you have HubSpot and Pipedrive on the other side. And that's more of your sales driven tools. Now, I'm going to talk about each of them and explain how they're different. So with a Klaviyo and ActiveCampaign, you can send email marketing, you can create flows, you can create landing pages on ActiveCampaigns. It's very heavy in marketing. Remember when I said it's either one-to-one or one-to-many? This is your one-to-many platform. When you talk about being very sales driven and you want to know like your sales pipeline, you want to understand, oh, how many times did it take for me to call this person for them to actually convert? I want to know the nitty gritty of when is the last time I emailed Sally, and I want my CRM to remind me, oh yeah, call Tim back on Tuesday. You're looking at more of a HubSpot or a Pipedrive. It does all of the things that Klaviyo and ActiveCampaign do, but it's more sales driven. It focuses on those one-to-one relationships as well as the one-to-many relationships. Another thing that I would say about these tools, and you would probably hear me say this again, is you get what you pay for. HubSpot and Pipedrive are a little bit more on the expensive side, and that's because they're a very powerful tool. Extremely powerful tools, and you can do a lot with those tools. Klaviyo and ActiveCampaign are more on your less expensive side because it doesn't have that one-to-one sales component piece of the CRM. And you really have to ask yourself, like, is that something that you actually need in your business? Because not every business needs that specific CRM. Okay. Any questions on CRM tools or anything of that nature?
Yep. Hold on. Quick question. Can you talk about text messaging CRMs where you can send mass texts out at one time?
Yeah, so with all of these platforms, I'm pretty sure you're able to do that. Send mass text messages. I know with Klaviyo you are, and I know with HubSpot you are able to. With ActiveCampaign and PipeDrive, I'm not too sure, but that's one of those things. Like I mentioned, I would do a demo with any of them before you pick a platform. Please do a demo. And make sure that you actually can like use the platform, you like the platform. But that's one of the questions that I would ask in your live demo, or try to reach out to a sales rep and get that answer, because they'll be able to answer that for you. And when I send you the deck, these do have links to them, and they are linked to the pricing page, so you'll be able to see what comes with every single product as well when you get the deck. Any other questions?
There's a question in the chat. What do you feel about Keep, Dubsado, and Go High Level?
So the first two I have not heard of. Like I said, there are so many CRM tools. Go High Level, I think there are pros and cons with Go High Level. Again, I would not suggest one platform to a business without knowing the ins and outs of that business and what you're actually looking for in a platform. So I would definitely suggest trying to find a live demo or scheduling a live demo. And again, going back to that needs, what do you actually need your platform to do? And with that being said, a lot of these platforms, they give you all these tools, but if you don't know how to use them, or you don't have the capacity or the bandwidth to be able to implement them in your business, you're kind of wasting money. So that's one note that I do want people to take away. That's why that needs list is so important, because if you get into these demo calls and they will sell you, I'm telling you, these CRM tools come with the bells and the whistles. But if you're not actually able to implement on those bells and whistles, if you don't have the capacity, if you don't have the bandwidth, if you don't have the budget to outsource the management of that process, you may want to think about a different platform that doesn't necessarily have all the bells and whistles. If that makes sense.
Okay. Another quick question. I'm that person that has names on Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. The information is just all over the place. How do any of the ones that you just discussed, are any of those good in terms of how do we consolidate it, like you said, to one spot instead of 5 different locations?
Yes. So that is a little bit of a process. What I would do is usually you're able to export that data from the platform. I think usually you have to do it on a desktop, but you're able to export. It's a very different process for each platform, but you're able to export the list, and then you can put all of that information in an Excel sheet and upload it into your CRM tool.
Got it.
Another thing I want to say about that, when you're doing mass uploads, so usually when you implement a CRM tool, you're going to upload all of your data at one time. Like all the data that you have, you'll upload it at one time. You want to make sure that most of the CRMs will give you a template that you can use to put the data in. Use that template, because if you don't use the template, it's not going to take the data. These platforms are very finicky about data. So you want to make sure you download the actual template that it gives you, and then you can fill in the information that way. Usually you can just copy and paste it from the exports that you got from your previous platforms. But also, if you are doing mass data uploads, or if you bought a data list, which I don't necessarily suggest you do, but people do it all the time. So if you buy a data list, you want to take it through zero bounds. Email platforms, and really any type of communication platforms, they're really narrowing down or hammering down on spam. So you want to make sure that you can keep your email domain in good graces at all times. And the best way to do that is to run your list through zero bounds. What that will do is it will tell you, okay, 30% of these emails you should not use. It's going to break it down in several different ways of like, maybe these emails are, I'm not really sure the actual term for it, but it's almost like an email that goes to a group and it goes out to other people. You don't really want to email to those people because it messes up your domain. And I'm getting really technical here, but the basis of it is you want to take your list through that platform. It's going to tell you which leads you don't want to use. It's going to be red. Red means no, green means yes. And you want to take those out of your list before you upload into your CRM so that you're uploading clean data. Clean data is really important. A lot of people think, I want volume. But if you have 10,000 contacts and you have 8,000 of them are bad data, that's a lot worse than if you have 800 contacts and 10 of them are bad data. So that's just something to keep in mind.
All done. You know, can you give, I just want to make sure in terms of the data list, as an example, so I'm in the beauty space and I just came back from Cosmopolitan in Vegas. They were offering to sell you a list. I'm assuming that's what you mean, like a list of the email addresses of all the people who attended the event. Is that an example of a data list?
That is an example of a data list, and that's what I would say is like an exception. Those data lists are okay to purchase because it's like a very subgroup of people or a very specific group of people, but people will also try to sell you like just generic lists, like all the businesses in your county or something like that. And if you do buy those lists, I'm not suggesting you do or you don't, but if you do buy those lists, it is imperative that you take them through zero bounce because a lot of the emails are not good emails.
And that's zerobounce.net.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions on CRM platforms?
Good morning. This is Tim. Quick question for you. Well, first of all, thank you for doing this. Are any of these more geared towards services or businesses that do consulting versus product?
I would say Klaviyo is a little bit more product based. Active Campaign, and then you also have Constant Contact. To me, are a little bit more ambiguous, which is more service based. And then HubSpot, I think, is a little bit more general for product or service because it's such a cumbersome platform. They have so many different features.
Appreciate you.
Yes, HubSpot is amazing. HubSpot is amazing. I love HubSpot. It's a great tool to just be able to manage a lot of your, not just marketing, but business processes, and very good tool. All righty, so let's get into planning, the fun stuff, the things that you guys really want to know about. We're going to kind of get into some free and paid strategy for you guys. And before we do that, I do have a marketing template. Now, you are kind of able to go through, and if you want to just take what I'm doing and make your own thing, you're able to do that. But if you want to save some time, because we all need to save time, you are able to get this template. I think Rachel's putting the link in the chat, and you can use that code for $5 off, which just makes it $10. Now, before we get into the actual planning, I want to talk about marketing and sales and how they work together. Marketing and sales is like yin and yang. They're like peanut butter and jelly. They're not the same, but they work together very seamlessly. So marketing helps you attract the client, sales helps you get the client, and marketing is going to help you keep the client and get more clients, hopefully. I'm going to give 2 examples of how this works. One example is a very recent example. So I went to Lenox Mall, let's say 2 weeks ago, and they have a store in there called Lush. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Lush, but it's like a luxury body care, organic company. Now, before you even step foot into Lush, I was with my friends, and the marketing was, first of all, their community, because 2 out of the 4 people that I was with not only knew about Lush, but they call themselves Lushies, I believe. They were a lushie, okay? They already knew the product. They knew how great it was. That was the community that they built. That was a part of the marketing. Then before you even step foot in the door, they have a marquee that is beautifully displayed. It looks very different. It doesn't look like your ordinary soaps or body products, so have you. And then when you walk in, it is an experience. You are able to try different soaps. You're able to try different, all of their products have some type of sensory element to it. And they have a story with how each product is made. All of that, that's the marketing. That's the marketing. That's the one-to-many relationship. Now, the sales was 5 minutes into me going into the store. One of the sales reps came to me and just started having a conversation with me. She didn't really push me to buy anything, but she just asked me, is this your first time here? Have you been here before? Oh, well, tell me what type of body products you like to use. Sales is not just, here's my product, please buy it. It is how you can actually connect with the customer and transfer your belief, because you know your product or service is going to help them, into them. Get them to understand that what you have is going to help them. Their life will be less lackluster if they use your product or if they use your service. So the sale was her going through each of the products. And by the time she got to the 5th product and she's having me test it, she's having me try it, we're talking about different things outside of just the store, personal things. She mentioned a lip scrub and I was like, oh, I have been interested in that. And I bought it. That was the sale. The sale was her getting me from, this store is so beautiful, I like this store, to I'm purchasing something. Now, marketing is going to come back in and they're going to help you keep that client. So marketing is going to be maybe the email that I get after that interaction. Maybe I know one is the good marketing things they did. They gave out free samples, and they're just little small samples, right? So it doesn't have to be anything big, of a new product, and it's a random product that I would never try. I love it. I'm thinking about if I'm going to go back and get it. I never knew I needed it, but it was great. So marketing is going to be, after that sale, how do you take care of that client so that you make them a promoter of your business? So that's how marketing and sales work together. Now, I'm going to kind of go through the marketing template now that we understand how marketing and sales work together. If you do have the template, you will notice that you have marketing sectors. I'm going to go over all of the columns, and then I'm going to go over some of the different marketing sectors. Now,
can you just repeat that code again for the $5 off for Kevin?
Yes, I think it's free class.
Free class. There we go.
Now, the way that I have the sectors, I have sales and lead generation first, because like I said, sales is not marketing, marketing is not sales, but your marketing goals and your marketing initiatives should support your sales goals. Your sales is what drives the revenue of the business. So your marketing should be supporting whatever those sales goals are. And lead generation directly leads into sales. So that's why I have those two first. The next, I think, 15 different marketing sectors are different elements of marketing. Now, what I'm going to say about the marketing sectors is you want to pick 5. If you do not have a marketing team of like 3 people, you need to pick 5. Pick 5 marketing sectors outside of sales and lead generation to focus on, because you want to make sure that you are hyper-focused in these areas so that you're actually able to push the needle rather than giving a little bit of focus in all 15 areas. So pick your 5 areas. And one of the good things about the template is you're able to kind of move them up and down. So you can just move the sectors that you want to kind of hyper-focus on up, and then you can leave the rest of them towards the bottom of the sheet so that you know that they're there, and that may be something that you pull in the next quarter. So depending on the way that you do your quarters, we are coming up into Q4. So what I would suggest is getting this template together, really determining what are your goals, what are your KPIs, what's your budget, And in October, allowing yourself to fly. If you're a plane, you can't just take off. You're going to crash to the ground, or you're not even going to make it in the air because the plane's too heavy. But if you use September to ramp up, get your marketing plan together, make sure you have all your ducks in a row, get everything kind of coordinated, in October, you are able to take off. So now I'm going to kind of continue to go through the different columns just so we kind of understand how the template works. And then I'm going to go into some different strategies. So I use communications as an example. I do put email, SMS, and social media in communications. If you would like to put social media as its own marketing sector, be my guest. This is just the example and what we suggest. And then we have our goals. Now, we want our goals to be SMART goals. I know most of us have heard of SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable. Somebody throw out the R to me, and I know the T is time.
Repeatable.
Results oriented.
Thank you. So you want to make sure you have SMART goals. And I think one of the reasons why we don't like to make SMART goals is because they hold you accountable and they apply pressure. One thing I want you to know about these goals is just if you do not achieve them, you are not a failure. Your business is not a failure. Now, yes, you do need to go back and you need to do some heavy reporting and you need to understand why you did not reach your goal. But make your goal a SMART goal, because that pressure, that accountability that you are giving yourself and your business is going to allow your business to grow. And if you're not achieving that goal, you actually can take a moment and say, wait a minute, why? If my goal is, I want to increase my contact list. Somebody asked me about ROI, right? One of the quickest ways not to know if you're getting ROI is, or not even feeling like you're getting ROI or not getting ROI, is not knowing the goal. If you say, I want to increase my contact list. Well, let's say you increase your contact list by 3. Did you get your ROI? Did you meet your goal? Well, I guess because you wanted to increase your contact list, but it wasn't specific enough, right? So maybe you want to increase your contact list by 1,000 contacts. Maybe you want to increase your contact list by 5 or 10% before the end of the quarter, right? Give yourself a deadline so that at that deadline, you are able to say, did I meet this goal or did I not? Yes or no? And if no, why? Now we're going to kind of go into what KPIs are. So KPIs stand for key performance indicators. And in layman's terms, it's just, how am I going to achieve this goal? How am I going to get there? I want to increase my contact list by 5% by the end of the quarter, but how am I going to get there? How are we going to do that? So maybe you create an opt-in form for your email list on your website. So as soon as people go to your website, you have a pop-up that says, join my email list. I know you guys have seen that before. Put that as a KPI. See how many people are actually signing up for that email list. As you're going through your goal and as you're going through the quarter, maybe check and say, hey, like, how many people have signed up using my pop-up opt-in form on my website? You can also, let's say you're going to events, capture those leads at events. I go to so many events and I see vendor tables that don't have a way to capture the people coming to their table. They have a beautiful table. They spent money on banners and tablecloths and giveaway items, but they're not actually getting the data, which is the most important thing, right? So maybe you need a lead capture form of capturing those leads when you go to those vendor events. And those are just examples, right? So, you can kind of take this and apply it to your specific goal, but genuinely, I just want you to understand, like, KPIs are how am I going to get to this goal? What are the steps that I'm going to take to get to this goal? And how am I going to measure that on a smaller basis, right? That I'm actually achieving this goal. And then the way that you can do that latter part is with this second example that I gave. So let's say you want to increase your email consistency on a monthly basis. Well, in order to do that, you probably need to batch content, and you probably need to batch it before the month starts. So at the 25th, of, let's say, September, you literally have a key performance indicator. Is your content batched or is it not? And if it's not, you're probably not going to make your goal. And if it is, you're on the right track to making your goal. So that's kind of how you can use KPIs. Budget is pretty simple. You use your budget to the sector. So how much money do you want to spend in this specific marketing sector? And when you add it all up at the end, it should be that 12 to 20% or that 6 to 12% based off of your business. So that's why the budget is really important, because at the end, you want to be able to say, am I in budget or am I not? And if I'm not, how can I get in budget? Where can I can actually look at the different marketing sectors and see, okay, I'm spending $1,000 here, I'm spending $1,200 here, I'm spending $1,500 here. Where can I kind of cut in those specific marketing sectors? And sometimes you may have a budget, sometimes you may not. So let's say you actually have some budget for communications. You can outsource that batching. We're going to talk about outsourcing here in a minute. You can say, I'm going to pay Robinson Productions to batch all my content. I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm not even going to touch it. But let's say you don't have extra budget to do that. So when you're looking at all 5 of the sectors, maybe you're like, okay, maybe I bring that in-house. Maybe I do the batching of the content, because maybe there's something else that I absolutely have to outsource. So that's why budget is important. When it comes to the status, you should be looking at your marketing plan before every week. You should, sorry, I got a little distracted, you guys. You should be looking at your marketing plan at the beginning of every week with you or your team. So if it's just, me, myself, and I need to be looking, kind of having a conversation with myself. Where are we? Are we on track? If you have a team, you need to be doing it with your team so that your team understands where are we and what is needed from them, and how are you supporting them in the movement of these goals. Then you have important dates and notes. These are very subjective. You can kind of use them as you need them. Important dates are any kind of like dates that are important in that specific goal. So if you're going to a trade show, maybe the date of the actual trade show. If you have to submit if you're doing a pitch competition and you need to submit the pitch at a certain time, like maybe that date is in the important dates column. And then your notes is very simplistic notes. This template is meant to be simple and lean. It is not meant for you to use it as your project management tool. We're not going to get into project management tools today, but if you find that your notes are like this long and taking up half of your Excel sheet, you may need to start moving towards a project management tool, because that's not what this is. It's just lean, clean notes so that you or anyone on your team, or even if you have a coach or a mentor, you're able to take this to them and say, these are my goals. These are my KPIs. This is what I need help with. A lot of times as a business, the reason we're not getting the help we need is because we don't even know where we're going. No one can help you create your Northern Star of your business. You have to do that. So this plan helps you create, this is where I'm going. This is my journey. And now people can just say, okay, I know exactly how to help you. Oh, you said you need help here? Let's do it. Oh, you have a hurdle for this goal? Let me see how I can help you. So that's a good way to just kind of make sure that your business is more organized and you feel like you're moving in the right direction, because you are that Northern Star. You're creating that organization, that plan, that journey of your business. Now I'm going to kind of get into some strategy sessions, some strategy topics. So I picked 5 sectors that I'm going to hit on. Again, there's 15. So these may not be the 5 sectors that you use. These are just the 5 sectors that I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to take a pause between each one so that we can talk about them. You guys can ask questions. The strategy is to help you create and implement the goal. It is not your goal. So just keep that in mind. The first one we're going to talk about is events, because events are the fun one. They're the one everyone loves to talk about. So we're going to talk about events first. We're going to kick it off real good. Let's talk about some free strategy that you can do for events. So you can attend networking events. Your goal may be, I want to attend 3 networking events a week. I want to attend 5 networking events a week. Free strategy is different speaking engagements, similar to the one that I'm doing right now. and also attending showcases and business launches. Now, I'm going to kind of go through each of these. With networking events, I have people tell me all the time, go to networking events. They don't work for me. They don't work for me. Two things. Either you're probably going to the wrong type of networking events or you're not networking right. I'm going to talk about the second one because that one is really important. When you go to networking events, you need to have a mission and a goal and a strategy. So when you go to a networking event, you within the first maybe 5 to 10 minutes of being in that room, take a step back, see who's in the room and who you want to talk to. Don't just sit with your friends and like, hee hee, ha, you know, we're here, but we're not really engaging. Don't meet one person and then latch onto that person because you don't want to talk to anybody else, right? We want to go in, we want to see who we want to talk to. We want to go and talk to that person. 3 to 5 minutes, that's all you get. 3 to 5 minutes. If you're going over 5 minutes, hey, I think we should schedule a call. Schedule the call right then, right there. Get your Google Calendar out, get your Microsoft Calendar out, pick a time, send them an invite. And I'm gonna allow you to network with some of the other people around, right? Because they should be networking and you should be networking. So you really want to make sure that you're maximizing that time that you're spending at networking events. Now, let's talk about the one-to-one interaction. You don't want to come to somebody and say, hi, my name is Ceci. I do marketing services, and these are all the services that I do. No, right? One, what's your name, right? You want to connect with that person. And the only way that you're able to connect with people is if you're listening. What do you do? And then maybe you can relate what you do back to what they do. You know, maybe a nice compliment. You know, don't just make it such a sale. It's not, networking is not the sale, right? It's the creating the relationship. And again, if you feel like you're having great conversation, don't get super caught up to where you're spending 30 minutes. If an event is only an hour or it's only an hour and 30 minutes, you've spent now a third of that time talking to one person. Schedule a follow-up call with them and move on to the next person. Another tip that I want to give, you should be getting other people's business cards before you give them yours. You giving someone your business card is almost like, okay, I'm just gonna let you go in the abyss. And if you find your way back to me, that's great. But if you take someone else's business cards and you put that business card information into your CRM, now you have given yourself power. I know we have digital cards, but I used to like to say like business cards is like almost money, right? But you need their information more than they need your information because you want to be proactive in that relationship, in that communication with them. So those are just some examples of like how you can make networking events a little bit more efficient and effective. Speaking engagements. So this is a lot of, a networking, again, like meeting people, understanding the different events that are happening and putting yourself out there, especially when it comes to these free strategies. I'm trying to tell y'all, bold and ballsy is the name of the game. Okay, if you cannot speak up for yourself, if you can't go up to somebody and talk to somebody, you need to be hiring a salesperson ASAP. Okay, because a lot of this free strategy is you being that vocal person, you being the face of your business. Go out and talk to that person. Go out and meet that person. You want to be on this person's talk? Find them on LinkedIn. Hey, Ted, I saw that you were having a talk on next month. I would love to be a featured speaker. You really have to put yourself out there, especially with these free strategies, and allow yourself to be that thought leader. Allow yourself to be that person that's really being that spearhead for your business. And attending showcases and business launches. Now, this is another thing. You can sign up for different newsletters to understand like the different showcases and business launches that are happening in your city or in your county. And going to those events are usually free, and you meet a lot of business leaders and entrepreneurs as well. When we get into paid strategy, you can do some vending events. So you can do trade shows, expos, summits. Why this is underpay strategy is because while you don't just have to pay for the event, you need to go guns a-blazing. If you are going to pay to be at an event, you need to go guns a-blazing. You need giveaway items. You need a branded tablecloth. You probably need one of the banners, right? You want to make sure you stand out because all of these other companies are coming with their A game. So you just want to make sure you have the budget to actually do that. Joining networking groups, right? Atlanta Black Chambers is one of the best. Okay, I know we have a lot of members in here today, but if you're not a member, think about joining, right? There's things that you can get as a member of a group or a chamber that you're not able to get outside of being a member. And then hosting your own event, right? And this can be done through collaboration or by yourself, whether you're hosting a webinar or whether you're hosting an in-person event. Hosting events is a great way to kind of not only just get people in your space, but also can kind of control that environment, right? And really optimize it and make it as effective as you want it to be for what you want or for what your goal is. Alrighty, I'll kind of stop there and see if we have any questions. Okay. And to me, about how much time do I have? Because I think I'm going a little over.
So you're good to go. If you can still wrap up and take questions, so you're good to go.
Okay, perfect. So I'll probably actually just do one other example. If we don't have any questions, or if we have questions, I can take questions. I'll kind of open it to the floor. Y'all don't leave me hanging. What do y'all want to do? Y'all want me to go through another example? Y'all want to ask questions?
I have a question. Hi there. When you go to the networking events, what should be your goal? Should it be to find a client? Should it be what's your goal? I walk in and there's 100 people. What mindset and what type of people should I be looking to connect with?
Yeah, so I think your goal is based off of where your business is, right? So your goal may be, I want to find a collaborator we can collaborate and kind of create business together. Or I even want to find someone that I can do partnerships with. You can find different like industry adjacent people to partner with. So for example, we're a Klaviyo partner. We're a Wix partner, right? And that's able to bring us business as well, not just a direct client to client. And you don't want to do a lot of selling, like this is me, this is my business, this is what I do, these are my services, but really getting to know who these people are and who you actually need to connect with.
Thank you.
Hopefully that answered your question.
Daryl, you got your hand up.
Yeah, making sure I'm following the rules. Hey, Melvin. Yeah, I wanted to say, or a comment and a question. So often when I go to networking events, I try to like know who's going to be there before I get there. And I try to walk away with like one or two people I actually have a genuine dialogue with. What do you think about that versus just giving out a ton of cards?
So again, you can give out your cards, but you're trying to get other people's cards, right? And genuine connections are great. And I don't mean to be curt, but this is business. So it's not really about the genuine connection. It's about, do we align? Do we align as collaborators? Do we align as partners? Or do we align, maybe you need a service from them or they need a service from you, right? I think sometimes we get caught up in I like this person. I just like this person, right? But they're not actually able to do business with you. And doing business is not just, client to business relationship. So I would just kind of keep that in mind.
Julio.
Another question. Go ahead, Melvin.
I was going to ask
Okay.
Philip if he wanted to ask his question. I don't know. Philip.
Oh, hey, good morning, everybody. Yeah, I was just going to ask, first of all, this has been some great information I've heard so far, but I was just going to ask about online communities and how that fits into this strategy.
Yes. So your online communities are probably going to fall into either your customer experience enhancements or your communications. And again, these aren't meant to work in silos. They're meant to work together. So some of your goals or strategies may overlap in different sectors. If you're talking about building a community on social media or building your audience on an email or SMS basis, you're going to be more on the communications. If you're talking about building community on an app, that may be more into your customer experience enhancements. And another thing with building digital community, this is a little bit of unpopular opinion, but I truly believe it is the experience that happen off screen that promote your on-screen community, right? So having some type of way to bring people in person and then bring them back digitally, and then bring them in person and then bring them back digitally because it works together. It can be very difficult, especially in today's age with all of the noise on digital platforms, to really create that community without pouring like thousands of dollars into ads, right? If you're not using the off-screen and the on-screen experiences to work together.
Go ahead, Charlene.
Yes. Hey, Ceci, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. Really quick, what does your follow-up process look like post networking?
Yes. So I can be very aggressive depending on the quarter and what my goals are. But I will take everyone's card. I honestly don't even care if they get my card. I have been to so many networking events where I only gave out 3 cards, but I took like 12 people's card, right? And I take their card, I put them into an Excel sheet so that I can upload them into my database. And then I use Google Templates, which is something that you have if you have like the Google Google Business or something like that. And I have a template that I send out to people every time I go to a networking event. So I send it out to 15 people if I meet 15 people. I send it out to 20 people if I meet 20 people. Sometimes they are customized, sometimes they are not. It really depends on 1, who it is, 2, how much time I have. So if I don't have a lot of time, I may group like 10 people and send them 1 email, but then I may have the 2 people that I really want to connect with and they have like a little bit more of a customized email. And I follow up with them that way. And I say, it was very nice to meet you. I try to take a piece of something that we talked about, if we did talk. And I ask them if they want to do a follow-up. I want to learn more about their business. Again, you can't help people if you don't know anything about them. So I don't use my follow-up email as a check out my website. I'm going to sell something to you. I use my follow-up email as I want to really get to know more about your business, because also sometimes you'll find out sometimes it works both ways, right? The client is interviewing you, but also you're interviewing the client. Is this a good client for you? And does this relationship kind of work?
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey. Great. Lynette.
Hello. To follow up with the question about what do you do on the follow-up? I know they say the fortune is in the follow-up. And so I've done some webinars before and I've been sending it. I have like an automated CRM system, but I'm finding it still difficult. Like when they download all the freebies that you give out. I mean, do you use any AI to help you kind of automate any of this process? And if so, what's the best way to, because what I'm finding is it takes time to go back through, and then if they never sign up for like a 15-minute call, what's your suggestion on that?
So I'm gonna try to, I think you answered asked 2 different questions. I'm gonna try to answer both of them. When it comes to AI, I am an avid AI user, but AI is not human. And we are, so we know when someone wrote something AI based only, right? So I say use AI as your basis. Use AI to help you build like the foundation and then take it from there. You may have to do some editing. Like you don't want to just copy and paste an email or copy and paste a social caption from AI directly into, whatever you're going to use it for. You really want to give it that like human touch. And then from a follow-up perspective, so one of the things I want to say is like, just because you follow up doesn't mean someone's going to follow up with you back. right? You really have to see like, what are your conversion rates? And that's something that you're only going to be able to do over time. So if you do it for 3 months, you're able to then track like, how many people did I email, and then how many people actually signed up for a call. But you can also put those people in a drip campaign. So once you follow up with them, if they don't respond, you can just put them in a drip campaign that has an email series of 3 or 5 and make it great content. I didn't really get down to communications, but when we talk about social media and email content, it seems like we're in the era of just mass, like do as much as you can. And sometimes it's not as good as doing great quality, right? And not just selling to people. So you should have something called content pillars. Content pillars are the 4 things that you talk about in your communications, whether that's email, social media, whatever. One of those pillars should be promotion. But those other pillars should be things like educational content, entertaining content. So some of the emails I send are all about how you can make your own website better. That doesn't bring me any business, but it does solidify me as a thought leader. And it does help me get my client from A to B, because maybe me meeting with my client is all the way at F. So in order to get them to F, I got to kind of take them through A and B, and then from B to C, right? So kind of having things that take them through that journey can help as well. Did that answer your question?
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Any more questions out there?
Do I have time for one more example, or should I start
Yes, you
wrapping?
do. No, you have 12:30, so you have time for one more example.
Perfect. I'm gonna make communications really easy, and we're gonna talk about customer experience. Communications, free strategy, audience segmentation. You should be segmenting your audience, right? Like everyone shouldn't be getting the same email depending on your business. So if you service businesses, but you service businesses in several different industries, you want to segment your audience based off of that industry and then gear that communications towards them. Again, you want the communications to be useful, effective, warm. Like you want them to feel like you're talking to them, not at 2,000 people. Even though you are talking at 2,000 people, you don't want it to feel that way. Another one is community engagement. One of the first thing people go to when they're trying to build their audience is posting. They want to post every day. I'm just going to post every day, every day, every day. That's not really how that works. You really have to engage, right? So maybe instead of posting every day, you post 3 times a week, and you take that time that you would use to post to comment on like channels, to comment on like profiles, to get into conversations that are already online. That's a way that you can actually build your community, because when you're just posting, you're kind of just posting essentially to the same people, like your audience, right? But now if you're engaging on other people's posts, if you're doing collaborative posts or things like that, you're now bringing in a new audience. And then planning and batching. This is something that, a lot of people kind of look over, but it's super, super helpful. You guys, do not sit there and create posts, even if it's a LinkedIn post. Don't sit there and create those posts every day. Take some time at the beginning of the week, at the beginning of the month, create all the posts for the month and just schedule them out. That way you can use your time actually engaging rather than taking segmented time to create these different posts. Also, when you batch and you plan, you can create a story, because now you're creating all these posts at one time, and you can take your customers on this journey of like, okay, this last post we talked about this, and this post we're going to talk about this, and then the next post, this is how I'm going to bring them to, my new product or whatever. But you're not able to do that if you're creating posts ad hoc. You're really only able to create that customer journey and refine that journey if you're actually planning and batching your content. Page strategy, I'm gonna make it real easy, outsource it. Communications is not what I like to consider revenue generating. It is not a revenue generating marketing sector, and we put a lot of energy and time into it. So the quicker you can outsource people writing emails, people creating social posts, the quicker you can outsource that, the quicker you can focus on some of these other marketing sectors that take a little bit more of your strategy, that take a little bit more of your brain and your head as the CEO. Again, with AI, you can probably get like a executive assistant or something of that nature to write an email, you know? So you got to ask yourself, like, is my business in a place where I should be spending time creating all my social posts for the month, or is that something that I need to outsource? Next, I want to talk about customer experience enhancements, because this is very important as well. So some free strategy, NPS surveys. An NPS survey, you guys can look it up on Google. It's a very simple survey that you kind of send out to all of your customers, and they will give you immense feedback. And you can take that feedback and apply it to your business. You can send the email out on the survey out on like a Google Forms, right? It can be free, and you really want to take the time to go through that information and say, what are my customers saying about me? What do they like and what don't they like, right? And that can really give you a good basis of like, what do I need to change? Another free piece of strategy is customer guidance. So what is a good thing to do is plan out what is your customer journey from beginning to end. From the time you meet someone to the time they are either, they aren't a customer anymore, or they stay a customer lifelong, what does that journey look like? And how can you support them through that process? So we were just talking about follow-ups. Maybe you realize, oh, I have my consultation calls, but then I never get a follow-up. People never call me back. Maybe you need to implement a callback in your process, right? Maybe during your consultation call, you're like, I'm talking to people, but they're not getting it. Like, they're not getting what I'm putting down. They don't understand my business. They don't understand how I can help them. Maybe you need to create a sales deck that you go through with each and every customer. So customer guidance is just guiding that customer to the sale. Guiding them to the sale and guiding them to a lifelong customer. And sometimes we lose out on leads, or we lose out on someone who was once a customer because they simply we did not give them the tools they need to interact with our business. Some paid strategy is making your customer experience special, right? So what is that one thing that you can implement in your customer process or even in your lead process that makes you special? Here's a really good example. So I work with For Imprints a lot because I do a lot of printing. They're a printing company. They sell all types of printing stuff. Every month, they send a gift basket almost of just some of their new items. What are their new items that they have for the month? And it's just a way to keep it top of mind. Oh yeah, maybe one of my clients did need this, or maybe I want to purchase something like this. And usually it's one of their newer products, so that you're actually able to see what it is. Now, that's just an example for that business, but what can you do to make your process, your lead process, and your customer process better? If you're a hairstylist, maybe you have snacks and water, right? Like, it can be that simple. Maybe you have a snacks and water station so that when people are coming to get their hair done, they can have some snacks and some water. Even like something as simple as Uber, right? I've been in Uber drivers where they have water, and those are usually the Uber drivers that have their own car service, right? So after you've had a great experience, they have the iPad on the screen. They're like, oh, here's my business card, and you can use me and my own private company. They gave you an experience that was different than any other Uber experience you had, and now you want to work with them on a personal basis. And another paid strategy is secret shopping. This is something more for my brick and mortar. So if you do have a brick and mortar, having someone come in and analyze from the moment they walk in the door to the moment they leave, experience, customer service, where things are placed, what caught their eye, all of those things really help when determining how can you actually improve. Because a lot of times we're in the business and we're creating our own improvements, and it's not what the customer asked for. right? When you're in the business, working in the business every day, it's hard for you to say, oh yeah, I know my customers need this. How do you know? You're not the customer, you're the owner, right? So you have a different perspective than customers who are coming in and experiencing your business. Another way that you can do that as a service-based business is take a friend and take them through your process from beginning to end and say, what did you like about it? You know, maybe give them a trial version of your service and say, can you give me all the feedback? What's all the feedback that you have? You can even partner with someone like in Atlanta Black Chambers, or if you're in an incubator space, partner with a peer to kind of guide through that process and say, what did you like? What didn't you like? Right? So that you're able to enhance on that experience. I wasn't able to get through all of the examples today, but I tried to get through as many as possible. Again, these are strategies to kind of help you in creating your goal and then actually implementing them. I wish I could go through all 15 of them, but trust me, that would take forever. So if you are interested in learning more, please book a consultation call, and I would love to hop on a call with you. I'm going to put this up on the screen for a minute, and then I'll hop back to our upcoming event screen. This is our form for today. So if you fill out this form, we will send you the deck. And you'll also get a few other items as well in your email. So please fill out this form so you can get the deck. Again, this deck has hyperlinks in there that you can actually like go and look at. Like if you're like, oh, I want to check out HubSpot and what HubSpot has to offer, you can literally just click on the HubSpot logo and it'll take you right there.
Thank you,
Fantastic.
thank you. Are there any more questions? Because y'all been having some really great questions. I want to make sure there's nothing else you got to ask Ceci, because she's coming with the information, y'all. So do not pass up this opportunity. Yep, Charlene.
Yes, ma'am. So with the segmentation, right? So say someone has a list of 10,000 subscribers. What would be your first steps in starting to segment that list? Like, would you send a survey? Like, what would that process look like for you?
I would first ask, like, what information do you have on your customer list? Because you may already have the information, and if you do, then it's just a matter of segmenting it. So if you already have like what's their industry or what's their business name, it may take a little bit more legwork for you to actually like take their business name, look them up, figure out their industry, but you could separate them that way. Or yes, you can send out a form to say something like, we want to better service you, right? Don't make it about you, make it about them. We want to better service you. And we want to bring you all the things you need. Please complete this form to let us know how we can better serve you. And you can have the form that'll break down the different segments that you need. With that, I would always suggest doing some type of incentive. People are moving extremely fast these days. And while we want people to do things for free, they're just not. Like, that's just how the world works. So even if you're able to give like a 10% discount or a 5% discount for completing the form, that's always a good way to kind of like get actual feedback, because it can be difficult to get people to actually fill out a form, even if it only takes 5 minutes.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Your questions have been great.
Thanks, sis.
Y'all have been wonderful today. You don't forget to complete this form. You're going to get so much out of these slides reviewing this information. Ceci, do you have any last words?
I guess my only last words, I'm going to put on my sales hat right now. I'm taking my marketing hat off and I'm putting my sales hat on. We talked about how the marketing and the sales work together. We do have some upcoming events. So when you get this deck, go ahead and check them out. We have Bites and Banter, which is a networking event that we're doing with iPick. We have, this actually already passed, but we do have a marketing session coming up, a marketing masterclass coming up that's going to be all day. So I'll switch that out before I send you guys the deck. And then we also have another networking event with Guac Taco Studio, which Atlanta Black Chambers is going to be one of our guest speakers there. So we're super excited for that as well.
Awesome. And Melvin, what about you?
What about me?
Any last words? Any last words you want to send us off with?
So My words are, Ceci, you are, I mean, you're awesome. I mean, I love the energy. I love your delivery when you present, and you have the knowledge and the expertise that I think folks who heard you today are like, okay, yep, I need to call her if I need, a consultant of this type. So, and that's what I wanted you to do. Demonstrate your capabilities, so that people would clearly understand why you and your firm should be the go-to source for this particular service that requires a skill set and knowledge and expertise. So thank you for representing the ABC in a great way. You did your job with excellence. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
That's what I had to make.
All right, that's perfect and great. Well, everyone, we will see you next month for our webinar. They are always on the third Thursdays, but have a wonderful rest of your week. And we will see you around the MCAT community and the ABC community.
Awesome. Shout out to the Marketing, Communications, Advertising, and Technology Committee. The chair, Ms. Tamay Shannon.